Hello, and welcome back to Tidbit of Torah. Yesterday, I got a little chuckle when my 3-year-old daughter came home from preschool, as children in preschools around the country and the world do at this time of year, with a little decorated puppet of Jonah and the whale that she made in school. And the reason why I chuckled is because the story of Jonah is not really a children's story. Even though there are so many children's stories and puppets and things about the story of Jonah, it's actually not really a children's story. It's a story of a man arguing for God, for insisting that forgiveness is not right in a world where people have done such nasty things. It's a story of a man trying to reconcile his values, who gets swallowed by a large fish, who cries out from the depths in a deep, dark place, and goes through a very difficult, painful transformation to a sense of greater enlightenment and compassion. But what I want to say is, even though the story of Jonah is not really a children's story, it is the story of our children. Let's imagine for a moment what it might be like to read the story of Jonah, which we will read as the Haftarah at Mincha this Yom Kippur afternoon. Like the story not just of God with Jonah, but the story of a parent with a child. And the truth is, so much of the Yom Kippur liturgy already sets us up for that comparison, because we reach out, call out to God as Avinu Malkeinu, our parent and our leader, again and again throughout the high holidays. So let's imagine what that might look like. Jonah is a punky kid who comes to his parents and says, "Ima, Abba, I just have to tell you, I can't follow the rules anymore. I can't do what you've asked me to do because the kids at school are bullying me. The kids are nasty. I don't even feel safe in my school. There is hatred. There is anti-Semitism. How can I forgive what is going on in the world when seems to be such a lack of truth or justice? How am I supposed to operate by the values that you taught me when I don't see them playing out in the world? What am I supposed to do, Ima? What am I supposed to do, Abba?" Doesn't that sound a little bit like our kids, our teens coming to us, or our kids coming back from college and talking to us about what's going on? The truth is, on some level, the story of Jonah is the story of all of us calling out to God, calling out to a parent saying, like, I don't understand how to deal with the brokenness, the darkness, the violence that I see in my world, the lack of truth and justice. How do I operate in this world? And we see that, like our children, Jonah goes through a transformation, a deep experiential learning that happens by leaving the nest and going out in the world, by going through difficult experiences to help him see that sometimes standing on a small, isolating island of truth or justice or righteousness doesn't always serve one. That sometimes we also need to understand that the world is actually not black and white, that the world is complex, that it is important, as God teaches Jonah, to come to the world with a sense of compassion and a willingness to forgive, to understand that people don't always do the right thing, and that we have to wrestle with how to reconcile our values with the need to forgive other people who may not be living up to them. And that is one of the essential struggles that our kids face, that we face as we enter and embrace adulthood. How do we stand by our values and also be compassionate to others? How do we understand that the world is complex and will so often disappoint us? And so, as we enter Yom Kippur, I invite us to give the book of Jonah a second look, not just as a simplistic and silly kid story about this big giant whale that burps out, that throws up Jonah, but also as a truism for the story of transformation of our kids, for the story of the challenges that we face to reconcile our values with a difficult, violent, and complex world. I want to wish you a Gemar Chatima Tova. May this be a year of being written well, of written for good in the book of life and in the book of our relationships. And it may be a year of being together as a community, as families, to wrestle with these difficult and important questions. Shana Tova.